Welcome to A Century of Cinema. Today I will be exploring my favourite films of 1957. First up, Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men. Set almost entirely in a jury room, a group of 12 men from diverse backgrounds decide the outcome of a murder trial. After the initial vote, there are 11 guilties and 1 not guilty. Henry Fonda's juror number 8. As he gradually begins to bring others around, he is gets more and more antagonism from Lee Jacobs, juror number 3. 12 Angry Men, written by Reginald Rose, based on his 1954 teleplay, marks the feature film debut of director Sidney Lumet, and it remains one of the greatest court-themed films of all time, and is also one of the finest examples of a film ensemble. Apart from Fonda and Cobb, we have Martin Balsam, John Fiedler, E.G. Marshall, Jack Klugman, Edward Binns, Jack Warden, Joseph Sweeney, Ed Begley, George Voskovec, and Robert Webber, with Sweeney and Voskovec reprising their roles from the teleplay. Every single actor has their moment to shine, and shine they all do. While the most obvious aspect of the film is the extraordinary ensemble, it is just as enriched by a scintillating screenplay, Rose improving on his already excellent work. Some brilliant cinematography from Boris Kaufman, which manages to make a static one-room talky drama into a dynamic and exciting film. Naturally, this is also accomplished by Sidney Lumet's exemplary direction. It is paced beautifully and never drags. And while I am not giving it my Best Picture nod, I do consider it the best American film of 1957. Ingmar Bergman's Smultronstellet, Wild Strawberries, or more literally, The Wild Strawberry Patch, stars Victor Hörström as Professor Isak Borg, who travels across the country in order to be honoured by his university. Accompanying him is his daughter-in-law Marianne, Ingrid Thulin, who is at a crossroads in her relationship with Isak's son Ewald, Gunnar Bjornstrand. Along the way, they visit places from Isak's past, and he is haunted by dreams about lost love, his past, and mortality. Bibi Andersson plays 2 Sarahs, the love of Isak's youth, who ended up marrying his brother, and a young, vibrant hitchhiker who is travelling with 2 male companions who are constantly arguing about the existence of God. Throughout this journey, Isak discovers who he is, how he wants to be seen and remembered, and that he should cherish his loved ones. This is Swedish screen star Victor Hörström's last film appearance, and he delivers an achingly honest and understated performance as Isak Borg. We watch Isak gradually realise how others regard him, and how much of his life he truly regrets, and to learn how to be more loving and accepting to those around him. Wild Strawberries is the first of 2 Bergman films on this list, and once again he shows himself to be an immensely authentic and creative writer and director. His authenticity on full display in the interplay of the characters, and the creativity most evident in the stunning dream sequences, which range from idyllic pastoral beauty to incredibly unsettling and starkly terrifying. The supporting cast are all excellent, particularly Ingrid Thulin as Marianne, her stoicism barely masking the pain she carries, and only occasionally puts on full display. Yet the film belongs to Victor Hörström, and he carries it beautifully. That's why he's my choice for Best Actor of 1957. My second Ingmar Bergman film for 1957 is Der Sjunde Inseklet, The Seventh Seal. It concerns Antonius Block, a knight returning from the Crusades, played by Max von Sydow, accompanied by his squire Jens, Gunnar Bjornstrand. The personification of death, portrayed by Bengt Ekeroth, appears before Antonius, and they engage in a game of chess for his life. The game continues at intervals throughout Antonius's journey home. On that journey, they meet a troupe of actors, one of which, Joff, is beginning to have ominous visions. Beyond the literal representation of death depicted here, The spectre of it hangs over everything throughout the film. And though you would think that this would make the film overly bleak and depressing, that is not the case. Yes, it is bleak subject matter, but Bergman has crafted yet another brilliant balance between philosophy and entertainment. There are compelling characters. Von Sydow's Antonius and Bjernstrand's Jens contrast each other beautifully, with Antonius constantly searching for meaning and Jens either dismissing or mocking the desire to search for it. Gunnar Lindblom as the enigmatic girl that Jens rescues from the one constant villain of the film, Bertil Anderberg's Raval, pierces the screen with her eyes and expression. Niels Popp and Bibi Andersson as Joff and Mia, the innocent couple who are saved by Joff's ability to see beyond the veil, provide a large amount of the lightness and warmth of the Seventh Seal. Even Ekeroth's death seems a fully fleshed out character. He has quirks and seems to enjoy his work in a subtle way. However, the two elements that elevate this film to the level of greatness are Gunnar Fischer's breathtakingly atmospheric cinematography and Ingmar Bergman's inspired direction. He is at the top of his game here. In 1957, he gave us these two incredible films, which for me represent his peak as a filmmaker. And yes, he will go on to make more great films for decades to come, some of which I'm sure I will address later down the line. But this year is the year he made my two favourites. He could be my best director choice for this or Wild Strawberries, but I think because of the atmosphere and symphonic use of characters, The Seventh Seal has the edge. Regardless, Ingmar Bergman is my best director of 1957. Finally, it's Luchino Visconti's La Notti Bianche, White Nights, based on Fyodor Dostoevsky's short story. It stars Marcello Mastroianni as Mario, who has just moved to the town of Livorno and barely knows anyone. He soon meets Natalia, played by Maria Schell, who he finds out waits on the bridge where they met every night for the return of a man she fell in love with over a year ago. Mario is quickly taken with Natalia, and Natalia enjoys being with Mario too, but she is committed to waiting for her lover. Mario struggles with his role as friend and confidant, wishing for more. And they do indeed grow much closer. I'll leave the synopsis there because I don't wish to kill the ending, even though I totally knew what was going to happen throughout the whole thing. Not because I've read the story, but because, and I don't think I am alone here, I have pretty much lived it. La Notte Bianche is essentially the perfect romantic drama, with a beautiful yet sparingly used score by Nino Rota, up there with his work on the Godfather movies, an immaculate soundstage reproduction of the town of Livorno, making the setting a character in the film, some of the best cinematography of the decade, and up there with Giuseppe Rotono's best work. Personally, I put it at number one, but I'm probably biased. And then there's the performances of the two leads. Mastroianni is incredibly subtle and affecting as Mario. It is a note-perfect performance, and it was almost a toss-up between he and Hellström as to who would be my best actor for this year. Hell, I may even change my mind later. Let's call it essentially a tie. But let me talk about Maria Schell for a second. She is a revelation. So much of Natalia is hope and joy, but Schell imbues those aspects of her with so much more. She is not a fool or cruel or oblivious, and Natalia could very easily come off that way. But Schell manages to portray her as an innocent and an idealist, who is aware of the reality of her situation, but chooses to be hopeful and positive. It is an incredibly intriguing and lovable performance. And finally, I have to give credit to the screenplay by Visconti and Suso Cecchi D'Amico, adapting Dostoevsky's story, transplanting it to modern-day Italy, and filling it with so much romance, melancholy, and poetry in somehow a completely realistic way. Not a line, not a moment feels false or unearned. Magical at times, yes, but isn't that exactly how love can feel, especially at the beginning, even when it hurts? I only saw this film for the first time quite recently, and it immediately shot to the top of my list. I thought for all money this was going to be Bergman's year to nab my Best Picture, but here comes Notti Bianche at the last minute, taking out Best Actress for Maria Schell, Best Screenplay, and Best Picture of 1957. You know, this may be the last year that my list is all black and white movies. I'm a bit sad about that. Oh well. Join me next time on A Century of Cinema when I will be discussing my favourite films of 1958. Now go watch a black and white movie.